Everybody always talks about Freddy, Jason, and Ghostface, but what about the other creeps and killers that never really got their chance to shine in the bloody spotlight? Well, I'm gonna fix that for y'all today. I am the guy you want to come to for underrated killers and shitty jokes. So let's take a look at a few horror villains that didn't get the love I personally feel they deserve. Alright, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all having an amazing day. I know I am because it's another Quick Cut Tuesdays episode, but not only is it a Quick Cut Tuesdays episode, that's surprisingly hard to say, by the way. I've tried saying that fast in a few of these and I always fuck it up. Quick Cut Tuesdays. I got it. Okay. The reason I'm excited for today's episode is because this is something I have wanted to do for quite a while, because like I said in the intro, when it comes to horror villains and all these bloody masked, well not all masked, but all these bloody killers, like I said, everyone thinks about Freddy, Jason, Michael, Ghostface, Chucky, fucking the bear from the Snuggle dryer sheet thing. But there's so many of them out there that don't get the love they deserve, and in some ways, this is gonna sound crazy, in some ways, some of these villains are better and scarier and more violent and deranged and fucked up than some of the other mainstream ones I just mentioned. So you know how Quick Cut Tuesdays works. I don't yap as much as I normally would. That's a lie. I'm gonna talk and make so many shitty jokes throughout this video, but that's enough of that. Let's talk about the first underrated villain that we are gonna be talking about today. Victor Crowley from Hatchet. This guy is Jason Voorhees if he got lost in Louisiana. He really has that 80s spirit and he doesn't just feel like a cheap throwback, and it works for me. I mean, you watch this movie and it's got gallons of practical blood and gore and it's genuinely creepy, got a good backstory. I know we're not supposed to talk about the movie as much as the villain, but I gotta talk about the movie a little bit so that you guys can understand how truly awesome Victor Crowley is. I don't care how ridiculous people think this movie is, how ridiculous people think he is. That's the point. If you don't get it, then you just didn't get it. Simple as that. Victor Crowley will become one of your favorite horror villains if you just give this series a try. First one's my favorite, the rest are pretty good, but Victor Crowley as a horror villain, he's like fucking Jason Voorhees and Swamp Thing had a baby, and it's awesome. That's all I gotta say about him. Bughuul from Sinister, at least I believe that's how you say his name. That's how I've heard everyone say it, so I'm just gonna go with that. This guy, let's talk about something regarding him. First of all, he looks like he listens to My Chemical Romance on like a cursed vinyl. Secondly, you never see him chase anybody throughout this whole movie. That's what makes him one of my favorites on this list. He just kind of appears throughout the movie until the big climax, but he never has to chase anybody, but that doesn't mean he's not scary. I love that it's very simple. He's not loud or over-designed. He's just a very creepy figure that's always watching, and for me it works perfectly. Not to mention, this motherfucker literally kills people through film reels. That's like next level analog horror. Also, the soundtrack that comes along with this man, that industrial static sound that plays whenever he shows up and throughout the movie is scarier than almost anything Hollywood has done in the last 20 years. Scarier than any jump scare, almost any soundtrack. You hear that and you know you're about to get scared. So all in all, Bughuul doesn't need social media because his engagement rate is already deadly. That sounded so much better in my head before I said it. If you came here to actually see serious takes on anything, you've come to the wrong place, dude. Obviously, I can't make a video like this without paying respect to one of the greats, the OG summer camp slasher, which is Cropsy from The Burning. This dude right here was out massacring and killing people before Jason Voorhees even got his hockey mask. So before you talk about Jason or any of the other summer camp slashers, which is fairly limited list now that I think about it, always bring it back to Cropsy, because this motherfucker right here, he deserves all the credit. I actually think it's a shame not too many people talk about him anymore, or about The Burning in general, because it shaped 80s horror and slashers as a whole to a degree. Like, the movie is violent, raw, messy in a way that a lot of modern day horrors forget to be. Most of this is due in part to Tom Savini's effects. Legendary, the raft scene alone is chef's kiss. And Cropsy himself, the dude shows up, gets burned alive, and then starts swinging these shears around like he's just ready to fucking trim up everybody. In the end, if this had become a franchise, The Burning had become a franchise, then Jason Voorhees would be fighting for camp custody. And I gotta say, I think he would lose that battle, personally. Flame me in the comments, I know you will. Alright, the second to last one on our list comes with a spoiler for the killer reveal for the movie Sleepaway Camp. So if you want to see Sleepaway Camp and don't want to know who the killer is, skip past to this timestamp right here. Because we are talking about Angela Baker, one of the creepiest killers in film history, even though you don't really realize she's the killer until the last minute and a half of the movie. Felissa Rose nailed the creepy ass smile that makes you feel like something's off the whole movie. So that's point number one I gotta make. That smile alone is one of the scariest things I've ever seen in my life. It's too bad because everyone remembers the ending. Everyone knows how Sleepaway Camp ends. It's famous within the whole entire horror community, and I feel like that's too bad because it kind of undermines how creepy and awesome she is as a killer throughout the rest of the movie. There's the scene with the curling iron, one of the most fucked up kills I've ever seen, especially in an 80s slasher, and while yeah, it's off screen, you don't really see anything, still pretty ballsy for the time. So I just think it's too bad she always gets remembered for her, you know, her face and that scary ass. The sequels to Sleepaway Camp turned her into like a campy horror icon, which proves that as a killer, she's versatile. So Angela Baker could either stab you or stare at you until you implode. Either way, you're fucked. Last but most certainly not least, we have Sam, the embodiment of Halloween spirit in a onesie and burlap sack. I love Sam because he's small, adorable, lovable, but will definitely kill you for not handing out Halloween candy. He really is a perfect mix of like cute and creepy. He's like a Funko Pop that likes to bite and stab, but don't get me wrong and don't shit on him because he's not really evil for no reason. He only wants people to follow the rules of Halloween and goes after anyone that doesn't have Halloween spirit. Yeah, it's bad to kill people, but honestly, if you don't have Halloween spirit and don't like Halloween, no one likes you anyways. Who doesn't like Halloween? What the hell? Because of Sam alone, this movie always ends up in my yearly rewatch. Every year, I do a big Halloween movie night and I watch like all the good ones, and Sam always ends up, the whole Trick or Treat movie always ends up in there because it's absolutely awesome and he's awesome. So if Michael Myers is the face of Halloween, Sam is definitely the soul, and that's why he's one of, if not my favorite killer kid, I guess, kinda, of all time. We love Sam around here. So yeah, before we give Michael Myers another reboot, how about we give one of these killers the sequel they deserve? And that brings me to the question, what is your favorite underrated horror villain? I would love to know, and let me know in the comments down below. That is gonna wrap it up for today's Quick Cut Tuesday episode. I know it was quick, but guess what? It's Quick Cut Tuesdays, so it's supposed to be. And I hope I'll see you all on Friday for the next big review. I feel like because I missed Friday, I haven't done a review in a while. Wow, I just realized. So I'm very excited for you guys to see the review that we're doing Friday, because Friday is October 31st. It's Halloween, baby, and you know there's only one movie I can cover for that holiday. But we'll get to that later. For now, I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you stuck around to the end through all my shitty jokes and one-liners, and I hope you go out and give some of these movies just give them a chance. I know they're underrated. I know they're not perfect, but these horror villains and these movies, I love all of them, and I really, really think they could become annual Halloween rewatches for you if you give them a chance. That said, I love y'all. Thank you so much for sticking around, and I'll see you Friday for another big review. Keep it creepy. See ya.